So her secret fact is that she won't eat peaches with the skin on because she feels like she's eating a mouse. Please welcome Joanna Tence.
My grade 12 self was standing in the middle of a small town band practice / jam session, and I was not having it. I was just hearing the worst, like, emo, screamo tracks ever in this entire planet, and I was just ready to give up, but my friend had actually told me to come to his practice, so I said, okay, yeah, let me just, my ears, until I met Connor. There was this kid. He was this crazy-looking kid. He had, like, wild, like, sleepy hair. He was banging out some really intense blues on this old piano, and, like, it was like the piano had become one of his limbs. He was just all in there. That moment, that was his world. And I'm a musician, so I've heard a couple blues, you know, in bars and stuff, but in this basement, in this small town basement, I never heard anything like that. And I was looking at this kid with, like, the sleepy eyes, like the shirt just like a mess with no shoes on, and I was just in shock. And at that point, I'd already been considering recording an EP. I wanted a 4-track EP, and I already had recorded 3 tracks on my own in my room, nothing too fancy. But then I saw this kid, Connor, and I was like, I need to work with him. Like, I need to work with him. So I asked my friend, I was like, yo, can you hook me up? Because this kid is like Einstein on the piano. Like, I need to work with him. So I got Connor's number, and he barely knew who I was, but I texted him, I'm like, hey, so I saw you in that basement the other day, as if that wasn't creepy sounding, but I saw you, and, like, do you want to work with me on my EP? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. And I got, okay. So we decided to meet at his house. And he gives me an address. He was a man of few words, apparently. He's like, this is my address. Meet at 4. Okay. So I go, guitar in hand, and I march over to his house, and he opens the door. Again, he's just, like, all over the place, like, really all over the place. No shoes, the usual, I guess. So I go in, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, no one's home. Let's go to the basement. So I go, okay. Guitar in hand still. And we go to the basement, and the lights are kind of dim, and I'm like, okay, am I going to get murdered? Was this a good idea? So we go, and he runs and, like, slams the door shut, and I'm like, okay. And he looks at me and he goes, I'm scared of open doors. And I'm like, okay, what am I doing here? And we sit on these leather couches, and we're not saying very much. We're just looking at each other, and he has these, like, really intense, like, browny green eyes. And I'm just like, this guy better not be a serial killer. I want my EP out. And without saying anything, he just puts his hands on the piano, and he goes off. And I'm like, okay. So I take my guitar out, and we start playing for about 2 hours with absolutely no words. It was just this ridiculous, like, musical hookup, if you will. We could have gone, like, all night long, like Lionel Richie all night long, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, oh, wow. So after the 2 hours, I leave, and I don't do the walk of shame. I do the walk of damn. So I'm going, and we decide that we're going to work together on this EP after all. He texts me, and he goes, good jams. Let's work. Okay, thanks, man. So a couple of weeks later, we get into a studio, and my friend Brad has generously offered to do this recording process for me. So I have Connor with me, and I've already sent him 3 songs that I've recorded previously, and I have no idea what he's going to do with it, but I'm trusting that this guy's like crazy magical spirit fingers are going to just like pound something beautiful out. I don't know. I'm taking a big risk here. So we do that, and as that happens, I am in total shock. He's in the booth by himself, playing that piano like nobody's business. He's taken my songs and done something insane. It's like I gave him a coloring book and he decided to color the whole thing in. And then he says, well, what about the 4th track? I'm like, right, the 4th track. You see, after our meeting, I decided to write the fourth track on the ukulele, and I couldn't get this weird kid out of my head, and I was like, I need to write a song about this kid, because he's so weird. So I'm like, yes, the 4th song, right. And I'm like, what have I done? Joanna, seriously, what were you thinking? Like, you wrote a song about this kid that you barely even know, and like, you're gonna play it for him and your sound guy, and they're gonna think you're insane and creepy and sweaty, and now you're sweating, and what is going on with your face, and why is it red? Is your face heating up? Are you gonna be okay? Are you gonna play this song? I'm like, okay. And Brad goes, are you okay in there? I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And Connor's like, let's hear it. And I go, okay. So I sit there shaking, like really shaking, like arms are heavy, like all sweaty, mom spaghetti, all that. And I'm like, okay. So I play the song, and they're both like, and I just feel like Connor's eyes just like burning into my head, and I cannot look at him, and I'm pretty sure I look like a beat by then. But I finished the song, and then I hear one click, and Brad goes, that was a take. I'm like, oh, okay. And I have to say, as a musician, like, when you're in the studio, you have like multiple takes of your songs. It takes forever to get like that perfect song down. But after everything, Brad looks at me and goes, yo, how long have you guys been working together? I'm like a couple of weeks, I guess. Yeah. And he goes, I've never heard anybody's music come together so insanely, like, in sync. I've just never heard that kind of, like, synergy, like, that merge. And I'm like, okay. And I realized that after I play my song for Connor, he comes into the booth and he just goes, good track. It's a fun song. Real fun. And I feel this like little pit in my stomach of like relief, but also disappointment. It's like giving someone a letter and they look at the letter, but they don't actually read it. And I'm like, oh, kind of coming down from a roller coaster. And I'm like, okay, what is going on with me? So I go home that night and I'm thinking, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I cannot sleep. I feel sick. Like, I can't focus on anything, and I keep replaying his very, very short words to me. And I'm thinking about the drive we have on the way home, where it's just like his crazy hair, like blowing in the wind, and he's just kind of like, and I'm like, okay, ew, like, I like this weirdo. Oh, no. This was not what I wanted. This was not what I expected. We were just supposed to work together, and it was going to be fine. And I wasn't supposed to write a song about him, but, like, that's awkward. So we start playing a couple shows together, and we have good times. We don't talk very much, but we have some good times. At school, we have very, 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 very few interactions until one day, I'm sitting at lunch, stuffing my face with carrots, and I see him walking, and he looks right at me, and I look right at him, and I'm like, oh, God, no. And he walks into a pole. And I'm like, this is not okay. And he comes over, and I'm like, and he's like, hey. And I'm like, do you want a carrot? So he takes the carrot, and I'm like, I gotta go. And I run, and I feel like a crazy person. Like, really? Really, Joanna? Like, I think I'm a pretty level-headed person, but apparently not. And I see him later on, and as I'm standing by like a drinking fountain, he comes over and like he's like, hey, what's up? And then I feel something, like the blood draining out of my face, and I feel something in my nose, and oh God, I'm having a nosebleed. Okay. And I stuff my sweater like into my face. Hey, what's up? And he goes, does that sweater smell good? Yeah. It smells really good. You okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. I gotta pee. So I like run off and I'm like, why am I getting a nosebleed? Really? Anyway, for the next couple of months, we still keep playing together, and then I'm trying not to text him like 50,000 times a day, and I can't bring myself to just be like, hey, what's up? It's not my style, it's his. And I don't know what it is about him. I just can't place anything. We don't have conversations. What? And I later on realized, okay, I need to tell this kid because like I am going insane. We recorded a song together. I totally just like professed my love or whatever, and he didn't get it. He said it was the fun song, which by the way, we played at all the shows, and I was like, the fun song. Kill me. And then I'm like, all right, I'm making up my mind. I'm going to tell him, like, it's going to be great. Let me just figure out a way how. And I got a call from Brad one day, and he's like, hey, your EPs are ready. I'm like, brilliant. I'm going to give him the EP and be like, remember that fourth song we wrote? Yeah, it's about you. So I put everything together in a nice package, looking all professional while trying to like keep my cool. And I'm gonna go to his house and I shoot him a text. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? I got the EP. And no reply. Okay, cool. He's probably doing cool people things. I don't know. And for a couple hours, and the hours turn into days, and the days turn into weeks. And one day I go on Facebook, and I see a status, Connor has moved to Montreal. And I'm like, oh. Again, that coming down from a roller coaster feeling where you're just kind of numb and your stomach just doesn't work and nothing works. And I just sat there for a couple hours, just, so that's it. Okay. You see, when you give someone like a little bit of you, even a little bit of you, in a song or in a bunch of songs, as a musician, when you give somebody your songs, you're kind of entrusting them with like a little bit of you, kind of like giving someone your diary. And so to do that and just have absolutely nothing in return, not even a, hey, it was really good working with you. I was crushed. I promised myself, I kind of gave up on music for about a month. I couldn't play any shows. I couldn't even look at my instruments. And I know maybe that sounds like a teenage drama, like whatever, but really, those songs were me. The songs were mine. And I never realized that until one day. I walked into my room like about a month after everything had happened and I hadn't been playing shows. I walked into my room and I saw my ukulele kind of glistening in the sun, being like, hey, play me. And I was like, no, I don't want to. But then there was like a little force that kind of just pulled me, and I was like, fine. So I picked it up and strummed it hesitantly for a few minutes, hours, days, weeks, until I realized when it comes to music or life in general, you can't depend on somebody else for your happiness. Your stories are your stories, and you tell them any which way you want, regardless of whoever keeps them, whoever totally tears them apart and like steps on them with steel toe boots and they're yours. And that was the best realization I've ever had. So the fun song became fun again. You don't say a word, you just make your way right by me. Like you haven't heard, you're the only thing I can see. I can't change your mind. If you wanna leave, then I guess that's fine, because I can't change your mind. Just don't break my heart and don't waste my time. You need to stop and smell the roses. Take a minute of your day. Should I make some silly poses? Maybe then you'll look my way. I can't change your mind. If you wanna leave, then I guess that's fine, because I can't change your mind. Just don't break my heart and don't waste my time. It's all you, it's all you. On my mind it's true, on my mind it's true. I just wanna know, do you think of me too? I can't change your mind. If you wanna leave, then I guess that's fine, because I can't change your mind. Just don't break my heart and don't waste my time. Don't waste my time. Don't waste my time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marsha.
Joanna, Tence.